What's up guys, Veteran Gamer here, and today I'll be reviewing Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. This is the 16th consecutive Call of Duty and the first of next-gen consoles. Disclaimer warning, this game will not cover Call of Duty Warzone, as that is a standalone package in itself. This review will cover the campaign, zombies, and multiplayer portion. Kicking things off, we'll talk about performance. This game runs natively 4K at 60 frames per second, ray tracing turned on. Yeah, that's right. 4K, 60 frames, ray tracing on. The ray tracing is utilized in this game through shadows. Any light that casts a shadow on an object will cast it in real time. The beauty of this is that when you see it, the cutscenes throughout the game and as well as objects in-game, they cast realistic shadows that make the game very believable and immersive. The big issue with it, however, is during some scenes of the campaign as well as introductory scenes of multiplayer maps, the frames do tend to drop below 60 frames per second. The good news is once the core game begins, the frames smooth out and lock up at 60 frames per second. However, if this is still an issue for some players, the option to turn off ray tracing is definitely there and it definitely smooths out the frames in those areas. Another mode that is available but only to players who have a compatible display is the 120Hz performance mode. This mode is required to have ray tracing turned off, but you will get the game at 120 frames. This is a first for Call of Duty on console, and it is highly recommended to anyone that if you have the compatible display, you should play this game at 120 frames. As everyone knows, especially PC players, more frames is better, and 120 is a dream compared to 60. Now that being said, let's move on to the campaign. To start things off, I'm going to be pretty straightforward and blunt. I quite frankly think that this is one of the best Call of Duty campaigns in the history of the game. It may not be necessarily the best, but it's definitely up there and one of the best that I've played in quite some time. The best comparable I can think of with regards to how good the story of this game is think of like the more recent Mission Impossible movies. You know, the movie that with the stuntman turned actor named Tom Cruise. We all love him. Yeah, that guy with his shenanigans. Yeah, that's the kind of experience you can expect from the story of this Call of Duty. It is really good, the story is really well written, and it features branching paths. These branching paths not only differ from player to player and give a different experience, but also can lay the foundation for what the outcome can be at the very end. This campaign does feature multiple endings, so therefore the replayability of the campaign is definitely higher. Then again, of course, you could always just go on YouTube and look up the difference of what you missed, and there you go. But I digress. It's still a really good campaign, real solid. The only issue I would have with the campaign is its length. I completed it with like 4 to 5 hours, and that's usually kind of short compared to other Call of Duties, which tend to be 6 to 7. I know it's not that much of a difference, but it's definitely worth noting. But the campaign does feature great epic set pieces, lots of action scenes, and as well as scenes that you probably wouldn't expect. As I said, this is a really good campaign with a real good story. Unfortunately, because of how short it is, I can't show too much or talk too much as it will pertain to spoilers. Just know that if you do pick up this game, playing the campaign is definitely worth a go, and everyone should give it a shot. Moving along, let's get into zombies. Zombies is a staple of the Treyarch games, and this year it's no different. The good news is they simplified the game and got rid of the excess garbage from previous zombies mode, therefore making the game easier to understand, easier to jump in, and a lot more fun. More good news is that this game also features cross-weapon progression between zombies and multiplayer, so you can take your favorite gun, play a few rounds of zombies, level it up, then move into multiplayer and still have all your upgrades that you achieve. This also works vice versa, so you're good one way or the other. Another good thing about the zombies is that because it is simplified, it's more accessible to the more casual player, and also deep enough for the hardcore players to find all the little Easter eggs and secrets. Unfortunately, this zombies mode only has one map. and that's really unfortunate. It feels like the game is lacking in this regard, and Treyarch did say more maps are coming through the seasons, but hopefully sooner than later, as one map makes this game get boring and repetitive relatively quickly. The other issue is that there is an onslaught mode, but this mode is exclusive to the PlayStation players, and let's be real, it's kind of BS, because other people who pay the same price as the PlayStation players are missing out on content for at least the first year of the game's life. So it's unfortunate, but it is worth noting. Last but not least, the bread and butter multiplayer.
Wasted them.
Multiplayer, the single biggest reason for anyone to buy a Call of Duty, and this year it's no different. Coming packed with its usual team deathmatch, domination, kill confirmed, etc., multiplayer features the usual modes you'd come to expect. There are some new additions and unfortunate subtractions from last year's 2019 Modern Warfare. Ground War is gone from last year, and in its place, it's Dirty Bomb. Dirty Bomb is basically a hybrid of what Ground War was, with a little bit of mix from Battle Royale. You parachute in from when you respawn, you have armor packs to increase your health, and you can revive down teammates. The biggest difference between this and Ground War, where Ground War is usually like domination based, this one has you looting uranium, charging up a bomb site, and then detonating that bomb. Once all 5 bombs have been detonated, another 5 respawn, and you repeat this process until one team is the victor. This mode, to me, in my opinion at least, is a little refreshing as it does blend Battle Royale elements with Ground War. And to me, it comes off very good, it comes off fresh, it is different. It is better if you are playing with a proper squad of 4, but other than that, it's a great addition to the game and a suitable replacement for Ground War. The other mode that is missing is 2v2 gunfight. While Treyarch did come out and say that 2v2 is returning with the seasonal update, its omission from launch is definitely noteworthy as it is quite the popular mode. And this seems to be the theme throughout the entire Call of Duty Cold War experience. Lack of content and feeling incomplete. That's the biggest 2 cons, in my opinion, throughout my experience of this game. Campaign was really short, Zombies was only 1 map, and this game, missing some of the modes from the previous game, as well as only launching with 9 maps, quote unquote, Nuketown just recently was added, making it the 9th map. It's short. There's a lack of content, and because there's only 9 maps, the game does get repetitive relatively quickly. And therefore, in my experience, multiplayer is best served in short bursts. There is something else that needs to be mentioned, but this only pertains to the PlayStation 5 community. So if you are not interested in this or are not part of the community, feel free to skip ahead. With that being said, let's talk about the 3 features that are exclusive to the PlayStation 5. The first feature deals with adaptive triggers. If you don't know what that means, the adaptive triggers adds a resistance to both the L2 and R2 buttons. This resistance is relative to the weapon you are using. So if you are using a pistol, the resistance will be lighter when you both ADS and pull the trigger. When you're using an LMG, however, the resistance will be much heavier to signify the weight of the gun in both the actual weight and the trigger itself. This adaptive triggers was good for the campaign, as the campaign itself, it adds to the immersion of it, but I would completely turn it off for multiplayer. Multiplayer, it is a terrible thing to be using. Not only are you at a competitive disadvantage because your trigger pulls are significantly longer than your competitors, but it's like lifting a 5-pound dumbbell. You keep doing it, your fingers will get tired much quicker, and it will just affect your performance overall. So I would highly recommend against having this feature turned on for multiplayer usage. Next up, we have haptic feedback. Haptic feedback is with regards to the vibration within the controllers. This feedback will vary depending on what's happening in-game. For example, when you're in a chopper, the light vibrations of the blades flying through the air will be subtle, whereas using the actual chain gun on the chopper gunner, every bullet will be fired through the controller fiercely. There is a setting within the game that allows you to adjust the potency of the vibrations or you can turn it off. In my opinion, I actually turned the settings all the way on as it did improve the immersion of the game, but it never really added any negatives to it in my opinion. I never felt that I was at an advantage or disadvantage to using the haptic feedback, but it just increased the immersion of the game. The third feature, and this to me is the most underrated and least talked about feature that I think more people should be aware of, and that is 3D audio. 3D audio is only available for the PlayStation 5, and you must be using a headset. What this does is essentially is the next level of surround sound. I know it sounds like a marketing ploy, but it really isn't. This 3D audio really allows you, the player, especially in a game like this, to know where and when everybody is based on their footstep sounds. Obviously, there is the perk Ninja in this game that muffles that, and with someone is using that, it will be harder to utilize this feature. But for anyone who is not utilizing this feature, you know where they are down to a T. And this clip is a perfect example of this. My average KD is 1.1 in typical Call of Duty. This Call of Duty, I'm 1.4. I played the alpha, I played the beta, both on PS4 and PC, and I was nowhere near as effective. To be honest, the PS4 doesn't even have this feature. It's only on the 5. And as you can see, I'm on a mean streak here, and a lot of that has to do with 3D audio. I know where these guys are just because of their footstep sounds. So I highly recommend to any PS5 player, use a headset, activate the 3D audio, and take advantage of this one feature that other players in the game do not have. You'll be doing yourself a huge favor. Trust me. So to answer the question, is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War worth the money? Well, if you're a dedicated regular Call of Duty player, I mean, why not? You're probably gonna buy it already, you know. But if you are a casual player, that would depend on how much you enjoyed Modern Warfare 2019. If you really like 2019, there's literally no reason for you to buy this game, and you might as well skip on it or buy it on a sale. If you are someone who is frustrated by Modern Warfare, frustrated by the map design, frustrated by the spawns, frustrated by the camping, then I would recommend buying this game, as in my personal opinion, if you prefer the arcade run and gun style, this game is more fun than last year's 2019. With all that being said, I would give Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War a 7 out of 10.